So this video is on the Greeks. I've mentioned them quite a few times with their contacts with the Persian Empire, or also the Minoans and their contact with Lower Egypt very early on, and I think they deserve a video, and they are an amazing people too. So the first Greek speakers in the Mediterranean world was on the island of Crete, the Minoans, and that's 2600 BCE. Civilization lasted quite a long time until 1400 BCE. There are really four ages of Greece. The first age were the age of the Titans, and we're talking about Cronus and Rhea. Cronus castrated his father Uranus, and that way he could rule unchallenged. The only problem with Cronus was that he was extremely powerful, and one day a magician or a soothsayer came to his court and said that his children would be more powerful than him, so he scooped them up into his hand and ate them. In some of the stories, a bird flew into his head and down into his stomach. Other stories, it's an owl. The message that was sent to them by Rhea was to light a fire inside their father's stomach, and then he would vomit and they'd come out. So that's exactly what they did. They took off their clothing, they lit a fire, Cronus vomited out his children, and with that act they came out with all the power and knowledge of their father. However, Rhea didn't tell Cronus that she was pregnant with their son. She ran off to the island of Crete and Zeus was born. So the second age of the Greeks are the Olympian gods. The Olympian gods fought the Titans. On advice of his mother, Zeus imprisoned his father Cronus rather than killing him. And if you look at the Olympian gods, what do you notice? They've all got human faces. And I think that these Olympian gods were once people who did great deeds. And those deeds were remembered, and then eventually, after generation to generation to generation, they went from being remembered to being good luck to being deities, and then organised into a family of 12 Olympian gods. That's what I think. The second oldest Greeks are the Mycenaean Greeks, the Aeolian Greeks, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed Greeks. Their civilization started in Greece, or the earliest record of them is 1660 BCE until 1060 BCE. What are they famous for? Well, they're famous for going to war with the city of Troy. They're the ones who sacked Troy. Now, did they do it because Paris of Troy stole the Spartan queen Helen? No, I don't think so. They went because they were after those trade routes which Troy controlled. They were going to sack it, rebuild it, and control those trade routes which went into the Black Sea. That's what I think the war was about. The third age is the age of the heroes. And heroes have a parent who is a god. That makes them a demigod. So Achilles was dipped into the river Styx by his mother, and she held him by his heel, and that was the only vulnerable point on his body. I know some people who've actually gone to Greece and have actually gone into that pool, the river Styx, the river of death, and immersed themselves to be a demigod. I didn't think that I deserved that opportunity, so I passed on that one, and the water was really cold. Hercules, the son of Zeus, and his 12 labours that he had to complete after he accidentally murdered his children. So he was another demigod. So this age is the third age, is the age of the heroes. The third oldest Greeks were the Dorians. And the Dorians, the earliest record is 1100 BCE, and they became the Spartans. And the Dorians were great seafarers at the beginning of their settlement in the area of Mycenae. And we think that they involved themselves with the Libyans and became part of that contingent that continuously tried to get into Egypt during the New Kingdom. When city-states became overpopulated, they would have a lottery, and if your name was called, they put you onto a boat with belongings, with goods, and they sent you off into the Aegean to found a colony. And that's how the Ionian Greeks came along the coast of modern day Turkey. So they were overflows of population from the city states of Greece. So if we look at the landscape of Greece, 70% are hills and mountains. So if you want to get around anywhere in this landscape, the best way to travel is by boat. It's quicker and safer. If you go up into those hills and mountains, you might come upon bandits who rob or kill you. It's much safer to go by boats. And the Greeks were great seafarers. We all know that. The triremes that they built to protect their commerce and raid other nations' commerce. It's all based on getting round their landscape by boat. The produce that they grew were things that were easily growable on the sides of hills, such as olives and grapevines, almond trees, and of course the animals, the livestock would be goats and sheep. A few cattle, maybe on the lower lands, but only for the elites. The writing was adopted by the Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were the ones who created the alphabet, and they created their alphabet based on 23 sound sense hieroglyphs. So the green Greek, as it's described, is based on the Phoenician alphabet, which was 750 BCE. Then that evolved into the blue script of Greek, and then into the red script of Greek. The red script was adopted by the Etruscans in Italy, and that evolved into Latin. So a lot of the alphabet we use today is based on ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. The clothing that the Greeks wore. Most of the men wore tunics. If it was a grand occasion, they would have other robes as well. The women wore dresses to cover their neck to keep the sun off them. They had flaps at the back which would go over their heads, and they went right the way down to their feet. The last thing you wanted to do was get a suntan in the ancient world. It was very caste, and they believed that their gods were pure white, so the women avoided the sun like the plague. The two types, there was only two types of designs of dresses. The pepperless Ionic design or the pepperless Doric design. Obviously, if you came from a more wealthier family, it would be a finer cloth with frills on and that sort of thing. But those were the two basic designs of dresses. So no. Well, I hope you enjoyed the content. I hope it was slightly entertaining. If you liked it, well, first of all, please could you press the subscribe button if you already have not done so. Thumbs up if you liked it, and leave a comment, and I'll certainly look at the comments, and thank you for watching. Take care. Bye for now. See you soon.